Alright guys, Fuller coming to you with another video. I hope y'all are doing well. I hope y'all are, I'm not gonna even talk about the inauguration or whatever. That really doesn't interest me at all. I'm gonna talk about something else. I want to give some artists their flowers. If you've been rocking with me, you know I do hip-hop homage. And I give artists their flowers while they're here. And I've been looking. I've always done like New York. The first one I did was Shine, and then I believe I also did Fabulous, right? But now I'm gonna look towards a rap group that really, honestly, today I went back in their catalog and I'm like, these dudes are dumb nice. They were dropping gems. Now, they fall under the genre of street rap, right? But even with their street rap, even with their hustling rap, they're still giving you gems in which you can use in your daily life. It's motivation, basically. If you come from a real place, like if you've come from a place of trying to get it by any means without, I guess you can say, without doing bodily harm on someone, you know what I mean? But you answering the call for someone who wants something that necessarily ain't good for them, but if you don't have it, they're gonna get it from somewhere else. You know what I mean? And so you listen to that rap and you're like, damn, man, they really did it. Like they're basically doing a documentary in their rap sound and in their verses, But in addition to the documentary, they're giving you these punchlines that will make you spin your head back like, yo, what did that nigga just say? Let me rewind that, right? They're doing that for you too. And so the group I'm talking about is none other than the Re-Up Gang. And for those of you guys don't know, in the mid-2000s, the group The Clips, which is Virginia based, they have Pusha T and they have Malice. What happened with them is that they released I believe it was Lord Willin'. They released Lord Willin', and the majority of the production, all of the production was done by the Neptunes, In essence, those were their artists, you know what I mean? They were signed to Star Trek. So what happened is a hiatus at Jive Records. I don't know if there was a regime change or whatever. There was something that happened. So when they were doing Hell Have No Fury, the problem is it took so long to come out. And I guess Jive, I don't know what the deal was with Jive. I think Jive wanted them to just do these like duets. They wanted them to do these like lovey-dovey songs. I think that was the main issue. You know what I mean? And because of that, they didn't come out. So what happened was they took matters into their own hands. They took matters and they just flipped the game. Okay? What happened is that they linked up with two very famous Philadelphia MCs. They linked up with Sandman and they linked up with Ab Liva. Now, the thing is about Ab Liva, I have him in my top 15 of greatest of all time. And not many people have heard of Ab Liva. But believe it or not, Ab Liva was signed to Dr. Dre. And although he never came out, he ghost wrote for Dr. Dre. He also he did the verse on The Watcher 2 for Dr. Dre. That was Ab Liva who wrote that verse. And he learned a lot by being on that label, you know, by building that relationship. Now, I don't know how that situation occurred where he got that deal, but he got the deal. You know, and at the time, Ab Liva was part of a group called Major Figures. And Major Figures consisted of Gilly the Kid, who signed to Cash Money. It consisted of Dutch and Spade, who I think were signed to the label that Cameron was signed to, Undertainment. And it also consisted of Bump J as well, you know, and Rolex as well. And I think Rucky as well too. That was Major Figures, you know. So I don't know what happened, but I think what happened was when Spade got locked up, the thing is about Spade, and that's a different video in itself. That's a whole different video. There was a beef between Major Figures and State Property, and that beef spilled over to the streets, and some people died and went to jail behind that thing. But, you know, that's another story. But I think at the time, like, Spade was really holding Major Figures together. So when he got booked, they kind of just kind of did them. Gilly got his situation at Cash Money, and then Ab Liva got his situation at you know, Aftermath, I believe. Yeah. Now, in addition to that, Sandman was on Interscope. I don't think he was on Aftermath, but I think he was on Interscope. I think Sandman was working with Interscope at the time. You know what I mean? That's what he was doing. And I don't know what happened, but I think Pusha T and Malice, they reached out to them. You know, they thought they were the nicest of the city. They thought they were the nicest of Philadelphia. So they reached out and said, yo, you know, let's put our things together, because our label situation is at a standstill. So we can't really move. You know? People don't know this, you know. Not many people know this, but had not Spade been locked up, he would have been re-up gang, because Pusha T messed with him heavy. He would have been right along with them on re-up gang. And imagine that cohesion between having those five on one track. Imagine how that would be. Okay? But, you know, it was the qadr of Allah that, you know, Spado got booked, you know. But let's talk about their projects, you know. Now, when We Got It For Cheap Volume 1 came out, I mean, that pretty much was just like vintage rap at its best. That was pretty much a modern day Big Daddy Kane swag, a Cool G rap swag, that kind of stuff, you know, where we're talking about lyric driven hip hop. There were so many gems dropped in that project, and they only use one original beat, I think, or maybe two original beats, you know, but they just came with it on every single track. You know, honestly, on that project, you can go through. That's the thing about these re-up game projects that I realized. What I just now realized is from re-up game volume 1, re-up game volume 2, re-up game volume 3. You can go through all those projects without skipping them, because they're dropping jewels in every single one. You know? And the demand was so big that they had to do 2 more mixtapes. So they did We Got It For Cheap Volume 2. They did We Got It For Cheap Volume 3 as well, right? So those were all successful projects on the I want to say on the street level for the mixtape masses. Those were very successful projects. You know, as a matter of fact, I forgot there was one magazine, and mind you, these are mixtapes. They put We Got It For Cheap as one of their top albums. Okay? That's how heavy these things were. Now, my personal favorite out of the 3, I would say Volume 3 is my personal favorite. You know, they all came with it on Volume 3, and it was just very nice. And the beats they used some vintage beats. That's why I like. And another thing they did that I like is they would switch beats. The beats would transfer on the tracks. You know, that's another thing that I like too, you know, about that. And so, yeah, it was very good. I really like that CD. You know, now the thing is, this is the problem. This was the problem. There was something, they had a situation, I think the re-up game, I think each artist had a situation at Sony Columbia. But what happened was, I believe what happened was that finally Jive released Hell Hath No Fury. That finally came out. Jive finally released it. So once that came out, they all left. They said, like, the Clips left. They said, forget this, man. We're not going through that shit anymore. So what they did is they went to Sony Columbia. But on top of that, the re-up game got signed to Sony Columbia. But for whatever reason, the re-up game never came out on Sony Columbia. So what they did is they released that album on Koch Records. And I'm gonna be real, man. I didn't really like that album. You know, I'm not gonna lie. You know, it really didn't do it to me. It was kind of like recycled music on just, you know, different beats. So it kind of really didn't deliver. I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I was disappointed. You know what I mean? Because I think if the album would have came out on a major label on Sony Columbia, like if a re-up game album came out on Sony Columbia, it would have been so much better, you know. But make a long story short, the re-up gang separated. But I mean, we know what happened. Malice, he became No Malice. You know, he decided that, you know, he was done with rapping, and he devoted himself to the church. You know, Pusha T went on to become a solo artist, and he still prospered. Ab Liva really came behind. He really did things behind the scenes, because believe it or not, Ab Liva even wrote for Kanye. He wrote on that Black Skinhead song. Yeah, he was one of the writers. And so, you know, Ab Liva, he's still rocking with Pusha, but, you know, Ab Liva had his own movement. You know, him and Spado put out some really good projects. They put out Glory. That's a hell of a good project. You know, that project right there, boy, is very, very good. And, you know, for whatever reason, though, Ab Liva never came out with a solo project. And I've been waiting for him to come out with a solo deal, with a solo project, but he never did that for some reason. I don't know why. You know? And then Sandman, you know, Sandman did his solo thing too. He just dropped mixtapes on the streets. You feel me? So, with this being said, you know, with everything being said, let's get into, you know, what was unique about the members, like their styles. Let's talk about the members' style. Now, when it comes to Pusha T, his style I would describe as talk your shit style. And what that means is that his flow was a talk your shit punchline flow. You know, over the years he's matured into like, he's matured as an artist. He still has the same subject matter, but it's a little bit conscious, you know, as he got on with Get Music and stuff like that. But it's still a talk your shit style. It's still a style that, you know, I'm just basically shitting on you. You know what I mean? And you can't mess with me type way. That's how I would describe Pusha T's style. You know what I mean? And there's so many bars he spit on the re-up game We Got It for Chief series. It's hard to, you know, pick one because there's so many, you know. I think he said water on one of them. He said Miami. No, he said waterfront homeowner, Miami Beach loner. No, Miami Beach chroma, 5'9" the Phantom, feeling like a loner, Emilio Pucci, something, bathing Nate, high fashion persona. So as you see, he's bragging about the shit he got. You know, that's how he did. That's what he would do. You know, that's how his style consisted of. And I like that style. As a matter of fact, with his style, he was more fit to diss people than mostly all of the other re-up gang members. You know, just based on his style. Now, Malice, his style kind of, you know, it's kind of a soulful style. His style is not necessarily bragging. His style is more like, I've experienced, you know, that life, and I'm warning you about what can come with that life. You know what I mean? And also, you know, ridiculing people who talk about that life but didn't really do that life. You know, he's letting you know, listen, I was really in the crap, and this is what comes with the crap. You know what I mean? So that's one thing too. You know, so Malice's his style was like more soulful. You know what I mean? Soulful style. Now, Sandman, his style, braggadocious. If I were to compare Sandman to someone, I would compare him to, he's the Philadelphia version of Notorious B.I.G. You know, that's who I would say that Sandman is, you know. And you can tell with his flow, you know. Trying to remember, you know, he said, I'm trying to think, there was one bar, he's like, another lyrical masterpiece, keeping these motherfuckers mad at me, and they have to be. And then he said, re-up, seize up, something. I would have to listen again, because I haven't listened to him so long that, like, you know, the bars are hard to remember, you know, because I haven't really been bumping them in rotation. I just decided to revisit them. So, you know, and then he said something that I liked. This line was good. He was like, he said something like, let me try to remember. He was like, I think he said something like, it had to do with like hitting, like knocking off a nigga's head. He said, make a phone call to O'Malley, he gone, move on. I'm back to the women, the good weed and, no, he said, I'm back to the sin and the good weed and women, the chicken Alfredo, my water with lemon. You know, that shit is like big reminisce, you know? So yeah, that's, you know, shout outs to him. Now, last but not least, we get to Ab Liva. Ab Liva, he raps like nobody I know. His style is very technical, but yet at the same time it's simple. But it is still very technical style of rapping. He uses metaphors that nobody else can use. He uses words together that nobody else really can do. If I had to compare Ab Liva to someone, and I don't like to compare people, I would compare Ab Liva to Jay-Z. You know, because on that song Nigga Please, they sound kind of like similar in what they do. You know, he was like, such and such stroll on them. You know, I'm trying to remember, man. This is like bringing me back. There's so many. But Ab Liva was like that. You know, Ab Liva's style is kind of like that, you know. But I remember that Ab Liva, you know, he can, with Ab Liva, what it is, he explains simple things in so complex ways. He's like, black card error, black card error, something like we upon it. Billionaire boys club garment. Seen it coming like a shaman. Everything I climb in. Top off the Kanish. And then something else. But then he said, I'm polished. I'm pompous. I'm arrogant. Bitches love the confidence that I believe it was like something, but then he said embedded in their conscience. It's embedded in their conscience. So he's like saying like women are feeling him, but he's saying it in such a like technical way. But I mean, if you want me to do like a breakdown of these guys and their early work, let me know and I'll do it. And then that way I can re-listen to it and like remember those bars that, you know, they dropped, because they dropped some serious heat, you know. And so that's what I would do. But anyhow, man, leave your comments and let me know if y'all rocked with the re-up game, any of my subscribers, or if now that you know of the re-up game, will you go into like datpiff.com and listen to their previous works, or even go into like a streaming service and listen to their previous works. Just let me know. Leave a thought. Leave a comment down below. Foolish signing out. Njaro.